Welcome to the Third Wind channel. We will be starting a new series ranking the seasons of AHS, and you might ask, how will we be doing this? Well, by following three simple criteria: the story, the characters, and the feel of each season. By giving each season a ranking using these three criteria, we'll rank the seasons of AHS. Once every season is ranked by each criteria, we'll add up the numbers of the three criteria for each season, and the higher the sum, the worse the total score. Let's get into the video. Before I reveal number 9, let me just say that this is just my opinion, and I don't hate any season of the show. Alright, well, anyway, the worst season of AHS, coming in at number 9, we have Colt. So that's season 7.
To introduce to you the President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Without getting into any major spoilers, Colt is set in the fictional city of Brookfield Heights in Michigan and revolves around a few characters and the reactions to the election of President Trump in 2016, mainly focusing on Kai Anderson, a cult leader played by Evan Peters, and Allie Mayfair Richards, a local distressed restaurant owner played by Sarah Paulson. In my assessment, Colt got a score of 26 out of 27, meaning it ranked last in all but one of the criteria. It gets a 9 for story, an 8 for characters, and a 9 for feel. Let me explain.
This is a crime scene.
We live here and our son is in that house. Us!
Let me start with the story. Without getting into major spoilers, the season has a clear starting point, Trump winning the election, and reactions from our main characters, polar opposites, far left and far right. The season continues with what happens to the residents of fictional Brookfield Heights after the election and slowly unravels fears raised, groups formed, and plenty of blood. We follow 3 or 4 main characters and their connections with fear. There's nothing left to the imagination, yet we get to the end of the season and we're left confused. What's the point? The strengths in the plot come from certain moments and twists, which prove in a way with better structuring the season could have done much better. The story and experience also lacks cohesion, as some of the events are imaginations, and some of the events are real but are explained later, and we jump around the timeline often. Not being able to distinguish what is real and what is fake can make for a great tool in mystery, but it is done poorly here and instead makes it less scary and does not give the audience a chance to wonder what is going on. The characters undergo unrealistic changes in short periods of time that somehow make the only season without supernatural elements the least believable. The story in summation is less about the plot and the characters itself, and more about the idea of fear and this oversensitive population in the United States. If you have not watched this season, I would skip to the next chapter in this video, which you'll see on the time bar below, just because I talk about the characters here and I get into some spoilers, so if you haven't seen this season, just skip ahead to the next part, which should be called something like the feel of the season.
It's gonna be you.
To me, the biggest issue with this season is the characters. The characters are narrow-minded and don't foster any desire to root for them, or really feel anything even if they die. Watching morbid scenes of people we don't feel attached to get killed leaves the season feeling empty. The far left and the far right are also portrayed as narrow-minded individuals who overreact to everything. Allie can be quite tiresome, not to say that the acting is bad because it's not, but it leaves us with an unappealing main character who manages to become a person with a completely different personality spontaneously halfway through the season. Phobias are usually caused by traumatic events, but in the case of Allie, we never actually get to know how she gains these phobias. How did she come to be afraid of holes and clowns?
La cucaracha, la cucaracha.
Kai Anderson? I personally enjoyed watching this madman, but for all the wrong reasons. I liked watching Evan Peters play this crazy role, but the character is again narrow-minded and unbelievable. Unlike Ali, however, we do get to understand more about Kai's past and how he has come to be this way. Some of the ideas he expressed earlier in the season were also more interesting than his actions in the second half of the season. The other characters, including the ones behind the masks, are some of the least likable characters in the show's history. They feel empty, uncreative, and not even scary. However, I will mention Winter. I think she is a very interesting character, easily persuaded, lost, and traumatized into desensitization. But she feels more authentic and innocent than the rest, and her fate is the ultimate tragedy and point of highest feeling of this season.
Don't you?
Do you?
The feel of this season is off. It does not feel like a typical season of AHS. The source of horror is crude and bloody for the sake of it. The season leaves nothing for the imagination, and to me, AHS is usually more visually stunning and it's captured beautifully, which this season features very little of. This season feels too attached to reality and hits too close to home, watching mass shootings, clowns on the streets, controversial elected presidents, etc. It is hard to explain, but as an AHS fan, this season just feels a bit off. I am all for making the horror factor higher by making the show more realistic, but this was not an elegant way to do it.
We gave a year of our lives to this. I dropped out of Vassar. Why would they send us to Florida when we should have been in Wisconsin? What if I get pregnant now? Where will I get an abortion?
Colt is the worst season, and its redeeming factors lie with some impressive displays of acting, experimentation, and plot twists. But the season fails to deliver that AHS excitement that usually surrounds the show, with its empty characters and nonsensical crudeness. No fun unless you portray the season ironically. Thanks for watching the first of 9 episodes. Leave a like if you enjoy this series and let me know in the comments below what is your least favorite season of AHS. Consider subscribing if you enjoy our content, and that's it for now. We'll see you soon.